Hey, y'all, I'm Shane Sams, the host of the Membership Masters podcast. I'm a self-employed, location-independent online entrepreneur, and I make my entire living online with membership websites. And I'm here to help you take your online business, take your marketing, take your membership game to the next level as well by interviewing some of the best online entrepreneurs on the planet so we can get all the strategies, all the tactics, all the tricks of the trade to help you start, build, and grow your online business. My guest today is my good friend, Kat Jarman, and we are going to be talking all about providing excellent, amazing, top-notch, world-class customer service for your members in your membership website. Kat is an amazing entrepreneur, and she is an expert in providing customer service and building customer service teams for membership websites. In today's podcast, we're going to talk all about getting amazing systems in place so that you can serve your members and keep them paying longer. And also, we're going to talk about building amazing customer service teams. Kat is an amazing friend, an amazing business owner, and I know you are going to learn a lot of stuff today that's going to help you improve retention and make more money in your membership. But before we get started, I got one question for you. Are you ready to become a membership master today? All right, let's go. Welcome to the Membership Masters podcast, brought to you by membershipmasters.com. This is the podcast where we teach you how to get and keep more members every single month. I've helped thousands of people start, build, and grow memberships, and I interview some of the biggest membership owners anywhere online. My goal is to help you build $1 million membership of your own. Brick by brick, let's do it together. Come on. 3, 2, 1. One of my favorite human beings on the planet Earth, all the way from Australia, Kat Jarman. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm so happy to talk to you. I would just, any excuse will do to come and have a chat. So
that's exactly right. And my favorite thing, guys, if you're not watching this podcast on YouTube, if you're not checking it out, the video on the website, Kat is rocking a Flip Lifestyle shirt right now. She is just rocking and roll. She came prepared today to serve and talk about memberships because she's rocking. Because Kat's an alumni, a team member. It's like family. It's really like a cousin. It's like family when we hang out together.
You guys are like my Kentucky cousins from all the way over here.
We have to have some background before we talk about. We're going to talk about memberships and serving our people and customer service and building teams and all that stuff, right? But I have to tell you a couple stories. So one, I think that I have probably taken you over, or I've probably taken you down the rabbit hole at least twice in your life of the most you've ever eaten in a week of food, because we coaxed you into a southern vacation one time, and me and Jocelyn took you pretty much to the worst possible health-filled restaurants on the planet. And I think you guys ate more. I think you guys ate more in that week. We all gained like 6 pounds just hanging out and eating all weekend. But did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy your time in the mountains?
Look, I've got 2 words: Paula Dean's. That was an experience.
Yes.
And I was also just remembering last night, I was thinking about it, the funnel cake experience as well. Which
I had to take you down some funnel cake.
I didn't know what that was. Yeah.
But now you do, and your life has changed forever, because a good funnel cake will change your life, right?
Yes. And I feel like, because Jocelyn and I are such good friends and we talk literally every day, I think I know more about Kentucky than possibly anybody in my country. So that's kind of interesting.
I'd say most Australians would have trouble pointing it out on a map.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? But you know everything about it. You know what's going on with politics. We're telling you who we're voting for. I mean, it's just that's the way it is, though, right?
It's amazing. And what an awesome time to be able to do that. Like, it's kind of the back in the days where you had the pen pals and you would write each other a letter and it would take 4 weeks to get there. Now we just jump on Voxer and it's a lot more immediate. Yeah, it's cool. It
is funny. Like we were talking a little bit before we got started here about just the way the world's changed in the last year with the pandemic and travel and everything else. And it's kind of amazing because what year did we meet? Like 2015, something like that? Okay, we met in 2015. And we've been together at times, right? Like we had a vacation to Jamaica. We were together at our live event, but only a few times have we actually been in the same place, right? But we kind of figured out, maybe before the world figured out, that you can build these deep relationships online now with Zoom, with Voxer,
even just texting each other all the time. And it's pretty crazy, like how close you can get to somebody virtually these days. Like when you get together in person, like it feels like you weren't even apart, right? Because then you fill in the gaps with just like Facebook and stuff, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Instagram's really useful for knowing what your friends are up to each and every day. It's great.
Yeah, you don't have to like send them a message or anything. You're just like, oh, how was that Mexican restaurant last night? That looked good.
Exactly. It's amazing, and it just makes us feel. I know that a lot of people over the last year, especially, have been feeling isolated and lonely, and we've had our fair share of that. But we're also very privileged to be in a industry that lets us connect deeply with people that live on the other side of the world. So I will never take that for granted.
And this is actually a pretty good segue into what you do, because, you know, one of the things that we figured out really early in our journey was the power of community and online community and building a membership community. Like that's been the heart of our business pretty much ever since we started. Is it's not just about we sell a product. It's not just about we have courses or we teach something. We're using these online tools to bring people together and connect them no matter where they live, right? Like we have members in every state in America, right? And countries all over the world. And it's crazy because we all come together in this one place. You bring together like-minded people. But what I've really learned in the last couple of years too is also like your virtual teams, like, and how they can fit in. Like all of our people are virtual, right? So building virtual teams, using agencies and services, and you can really reach out and get the best of everything. And you create these weird, like it's hard to even consider some people we work with as business relationships, because things get deeper almost when you're in the online world. Do you find that with your client work? Like you get like this weird closeness to people that, you know, if you were coming into the business every day and sitting at a conference table, it would feel like distant. But then you start understanding people and you get to see your clients on Facebook, and it's just a weird hybrid of what we used to do, you know?
It is, yeah. It's so awesome. It's one of the reasons that for people that are just sort of hearing me for the first time, I've ran an online business management agency for around 3 years now. And recently we used to work with anybody who had an online business, and that was great. And we do quite high level work for people. We're very good at helping in the operations space. But what I noticed is that time and time again, the people that we were helping achieve the most transformation and the people we were having the most fun with were the membership businesses. And I think it's because of that community spirit, because all membership owners are building a movement, a community. And it's not just about like, let me sell 5,000 courses so I can go and buy my Lamborghini. It's about, I just want to feed my kids and I want to make like $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month so that I can quit my job. Yeah. And it's been really lovely to step back into that world full time, because honestly, membership business people are just nice people. We can help them a lot, create really easy transformations, easy for us and possibly confusing for the business owner, but that's what we're there for. That's what we're there for. And honestly, online communities these days, there's just no place I would rather be.
Yeah, man. And I think that, you know, the whole world, you know, when everything started going crazy about a year ago, I was like, I told you so. I told you so. I've been saying it for years. You need 100 people paying you $50 a month, people. You know what I mean? And it's so funny, because the reason I love our community is because when you get people in that membership mindset, you do draw in service-oriented people. You draw in relationship-driven people. You draw in the less selfish. I'm not gonna say we're all not selfish. Come on now. I mean, we all want to have a good living and live a good life, but like, it's awesome when everyone can be selfish together and win. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And like membership owners are just like that. Like whether you're teaching people how to raise backyard chickens or you're helping people start pressure washing businesses, like most of the time membership owners, even if they're driven, even if they're making $1 million memberships happen, they do want that movement. Like they want to, like we've got this guy, he calls himself the pressure washing king. and he lives up in northern Kentucky. He's making like $15,000-$20,000 a month on his pressure washing teaching membership. And like he is so passionate though about helping blue collar people make their own way, right? And that's his goal, is just to be the blue collar king, man. I'm helping people hang Christmas lights in the winter and wash houses in the summer. And people are making great livings because he's teaching them to do that. But he's so service oriented while at the same time driven to that, you know?
It's changing lives. It's changing his life, and then it's changing all of his members' lives. And then they'll go on and hopefully do great things and change lives as well. And so it just feels a little bit more of a purpose than a lot of the work that we were doing for people was. It was really great, but potentially not as valued when all I'm doing is helping somebody buy a nicer car.
Yeah. Like they're squeezing all the efficiency they can out of every drop of dollar in their systems, right? Like, you know, like there's a place for systems. We're going to talk about that. But like that's the problem, right? Is like if I've got a widget, or I'm just doing this random course and I want to make $10 million on my course just to milk everybody out of their money, that feels a little empty when you're serving that on an agency side.
I don't like playing in that space. And one thing that's got me really fired up at the moment is the other day I was on Facebook and I can't remember where I was, but I came across this thread where somebody was asking one of the membership masters or gurus about wanting to close his membership. And a whole load of people chimed in and said, oh my gosh, this is really hard. I think I want to close my membership too. And most of these people had 10 members, 20 members, 30 members, and they all wanted to quit. And it was like once one person opened the floodgates of, oh my God, I feel this way too, there was just so many. Like the post literally got taken over by these beginner membership owners that want to quit. And it got me thinking about, especially for what you do with the Membership Masters podcast, is you've talked to a lot of really amazing like membership masters, people that are at the multiple $1 million a year stage in their membership. But then you've got these people that are beginning and they're at 20 members and 30 members and 40 members. And there's a big gap between being a beginner and a membership master.
Yes.
And I feel like there's a couple of stages in between. And the first stage is probably like get to 50 members. And that's hard.
Yes.
For some people it's easy, but I know for me, when I had a membership, it was the hardest thing and it took me forever and I wanted to give up a million times. And it's interesting to see it. And I just wanted to say to those guys, like, keep going. And I feel like the membership educators like you and Jocelyn, you do a really good job of getting people through that stage. And so if you're at that stage, keep going, please keep going.
Yes.
But one thing that I was also fired up about was that I feel like there's another stage right after that, which is the second stage, which is like 50 to, I don't know, maybe like 150 members, where the ball's kind of rolling, but then everything just gets insane.
Yes.
And you need to figure something out that the membership masters have figured out that you haven't yet. And that's kind of where the world that I live in, where you've got to start getting brave enough to outsource and figure out like how to outsource and who you need and like what sort of roles you need to fill and can you afford it? Yes, you can. All of those types of things. Yeah. I just feel really strongly that we need to be talking more about stage one, but you guys already do a really good job of getting people to that 50 member stage. But that second stage, I don't really hear a lot of people diving into it.
Because I think what that is, you know, because I have talked to all the gurus and of course we're in this a little bit too, because we have so many members, but like there comes a point where you don't, you know, I think the people that make it through that second stage, which is like you said, like 50 to 200, I don't know, somewhere around there. It's until you make about 10 grand maybe or something like that. Like that's the hard part. Getting to 100 grand in a year, that's the hard part, right? And when you get there, after that, it kind of all becomes about marketing. Now, and like we have full-time team now, but like when you get to that point, you're kind of just hiring some of the same people and that you already had roles for. They just work for you now. is the difference, right?
Yeah,
but that doesn't happen
exactly.
until you get like 500 members, like you're not paying W-2s and like paying people's taxes and their insurance until you get like that. That's like the next level,
Yeah.
and like there is that gap where things get really overwhelming. It's why I always tell people, please don't launch with more than 25 to 50 members, because you're going to get crushed, and you're going to be one of those people who quits because you're not going to understand how to deal with like customer service and back end stuff, and all the things you have to learn will just come crushing you too fast. And I think that's where people, that's a really good point, Kat. I'm sitting here thinking about all the people going through the Flip Lifestyle Blueprint, and we do have a lot of people that launch and they get to that stage, and for some reason they get overwhelmed and they kind of give up, right?
I know why they get overwhelmed. Have you had to think about what their daily to-do list looks like?
Oh, with their full-time job and this burgeoning membership that they've got? Yeah, it's just
insane.
crushing them.
Yeah, it's insane. And I think I was talking to Jill Stanton, one of your really good friends, the other day, and she said that the gurus know that they need space. And I thought that's really smart. The gurus know that space in the form of like completely clearing their to-do list, so they're literally just marketing their membership.
Yes.
And concentrating on retention and nothing else. And I was writing a blog post the other day, and I've started to separate the areas of a membership out into 3 different buckets, for lack of anything else more sexy to call them. And you've got the growth bucket, the retention bucket, and then the admin bucket. And in the really beginning, you're doing all of them.
Yeah.
You're dealing with the growth, you're dealing with the retention, because once you get a member, that it doesn't stop there.
Yeah.
You also would like to keep them as well, because
that's important that they pay you every month.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very important.
But then the admin, which is behind it is the admin bucket, but it's also the admin monster as well. And I think that if you're looking at your mentors and your heroes who have big memberships, like you and Jocelyn, or Pat Flynn, like his membership must be huge by now, or Amy Porterfield, they have full-time teams. And so potentially there's a lot of membership businesses out there, brand new ones, that are looking at these mentors going, I can't hire an employee. And I would like to tell you guys that you can start small, but you need to start. You need to start looking at that to-do list that you've got every day, which I guarantee is full of stuff that doesn't really matter. It needs to be done, but it doesn't need to be done by you. They're like $5 an hour tasks, $10, $20 an hour tasks. You need to be going and doing the $1,000 an hour tasks if you want to stay strong to your dream and your goal and actually reach it. Like the hurdle of the stage 1 in your membership of getting 50 members, it doesn't stop there. You need to push past this next hurdle as well, which is uncomfortable for a lot of people. I was really scared to hire my first VA.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are, not just because spending the money is scary, right? Hiring itself is scary. I don't think I got decent at hiring until last year, right? Wow. And I've been trying, and I've been in business now for almost a decade, but I think last year I kind of cracked the code after tons of trial and error. So like it's something you have to learn how to do. But then getting an overseas VA is even harder, because like now, is there a language barrier? How do I know this person? I can't go check their references always, right? And like, which is amazing, because what you do is you actually become like the go-between, right? Like you go to Kat and you can get you hire the VAs, you're there, you can figure that out, and you got your team, and we're like, let us handle the admin kind of part,
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not as scary because you can figure out what you need.
Exactly. And what I really like about membership businesses is your admin is all the same.
Yeah.
It's so easily systematized, because we're not doing random things like as online business managers. One of my girls was reconciling one of her clients' bank accounts for the last 5 years. And that's what he had his high level, super smart online business manager doing. And it just doesn't move the needle. It doesn't grow your business to do stuff like that. And what I like about tightening up the things that we do and the services that we offer is that we can create dramatic transformations with something that comes to us quite easily and is quite hard.
So we talk a lot about growth and we talk a lot about retention, but this admin issue is even related to the retention issue because like just say someone can't get logged in for 24 hours. That's a problem because they're going to quit. If they get nothing back and they can't get logged in, they're going to feel cheated and they're just done. Like people are so fickle. Right. So these admin tasks actually, I mean, it's crazy to think like, okay, I got 100, if I've got 50 members and they're paying $100 a month or whatever, that's 5,000 a month. It's crazy to think you wouldn't spend some of that money to make sure your floor stays at 5,000. Right. And I know this is crazy because I went the first year of my business. Listen to this. We had 200 members and we had no staff. And like me and Jocelyn were about to go insane, like because we had nobody doing it, but we were doing it. Right. Because it's all we knew to do until we hired it. But like, what are these things that everybody needs to think about that they're going to be doing like in that admin role that staff should be doing that our membership owners should not be doing, basically?
Yeah. And you're right when you say that the reason that we can't completely get rid of these things from our to-do list, because if they didn't need to be done, we'd just get rid of them and they'd be gone. You wouldn't have to hire anybody and life would be easier. But customer service is growth and retention focused. You could get an email from somebody that says, hey, I was about to join your membership, but I just had this little question. Can you answer this? And then I'll join. And if you don't answer that, you've lost a potential customer. It's retention focused because passwords, can't log in, wanted to change my password. It won't let me put capital letters in my password. What should I do? I'm thinking about canceling because I don't have enough time to be in the membership. What do you think? Like all these emails that you're getting that need care to answer and they need time spent on answering them because they can save a member, or they can, even if it doesn't save a member, even if the member still cancels, they still get a nice experience.
Yeah, and they may come back because that's what we get all the time. You know, even when people quit, right?
Yeah. And what happens when membership business owners spend too much time in their customer service? A couple of things happen. They get overwhelmed and that's all they do is they just answer customer support tickets, which it does help growth and retention a little bit, but it's not going to like drastically change your life in terms of membership numbers. It will just grow at a really small, like slow pace.
I didn't even think about answering like contact form emails. That wasn't even on my blip, but it's like, if you have somebody checking that regularly, that's going to make more sales because it doesn't slip through the cracks. And I would say that's like public facing stuff slips before member facing stuff slips. Like if a member writes you, you're like, oh God, I don't want to lose a member. But if someone's like, if you're overwhelmed in your inbox, you're going to let those contact forms go.
That's the other thing I was going to say. And the pre-customer thing is something that James Schramko, who's been on this podcast, talks about. He calls it conversational selling, I think. And it's the conversations that you're having with people that it gets quite time consuming, but they need to happen because
those
they can
points
lead
of contact, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. They can lead to sales. And if they get like a canned response or no response, which I feel like that's what ends up happening. So the business owner either spends all of their time in their email inbox, and it's not just your email inbox these days, it's your Instagram inbox.
Yeah, Facebook
messages. Yeah, like they can get to you in multiple ways. But what happens is they just stop answering after a while.
That's right.
And so those will be those people that have an inbox with 200 unread emails, or heaven forbid, 3,000 unread emails. And that's an opportunity cost. And another one that we do in our business, we take care of sending out newsletters to your members every week because that's something that a lot of membership owners, it feels like a little bit of a mountain to climb for them every week. It's on their to-do list. They know it's actually really simple to do. It only probably takes 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but it's just another admin task. And I don't think they realize how important it is to send your members an email every week and say, hey guys, can you log in and have a look at this? This is really cool.
So do you tell them like about
community.
content they've created and about membership stuff going on, or like courses, or just reminders of, hey, look at all this cool stuff you pay for, come and use it, kind of deal?
Yeah. It could be anything. It could be there's a new podcast you guys should have a look at, and hopefully you've put something to do with that inside your membership, like in a thread or something, so you can link people to the membership. The goal is just to get people to log back in, because you're trying to remind them that, hey, like, you paid for this, come and use it. You can learn something really amazing in here, but it's not going to happen unless you use it. And so you've got to spend just as much time on these admin things as you do on massive growth and retention strategies, like doing Q&As and things like that. But the beauty of the admin stuff is that you don't need to do it
yourself.
It's good for you to do it in the beginning, but then after that, outsource it, and outsource it smart. So don't do what I did the first time I hired a VA. The first thing I did was shared a VA with my friend. So that was not ideal.
Disastrous.
Yeah, it's just silly. It worked well for us, but I would say
not sustainable.
9 out of 10 times that doesn't work.
Right.
I had no idea what to do with her. No idea. She didn't have any skills. I didn't really have any skills in terms of telling her what to do.
You're a warm body. Come over here and join my team.
Right? Yeah. I had no delegation skills. These days, I could delegate anything in the whole wide world. I don't do sales calls unless I want to. I don't do anything. Like, I am the queen of delegating.
Listen, Kat, my long-term plan is to delegate podcasting. Not that I don't love it. It's my favorite thing in the world, but
it's doable.
I know for sure that, like, the vision I have for our company can't happen with me doing all the podcasts. Like, I want a podcast network in 10 different niche markets. I can't do all that. You know, like even that has to be outsourced eventually, you know?
Exactly. But you think back to when you were getting started with your team and you wanted them to answer a support ticket or write the weekly newsletter or schedule the weekly newsletter in ActiveCampaign or whatever. Your brain wasn't really made to go, I know exactly how to teach this to my team member, because most of us, unless we've been in some sort of like management or leadership role, we're really crappy leaders in the beginning. Most of the time, we're actually crappy leaders all the time, because I'm still making mistakes and learning as I go.
Everybody is. Yeah.
But we get these VAs and they turn up on their first day, and then we go, I don't know what to do with you. Can you go and make some images in Canva? And then they're terrible images because we didn't
hire them for a design.
No. And every day it's like this little weight on your shoulder of, I've got to give my VA something to do.
Yeah, and fill the hours. Got to fill the hours. Yeah.
And even though they're meant to be quote unquote cheap because they're Filipinos or whatever you've hired, at the end of the day, if you're paying them to do nothing because you don't know how to teach them anything, that's what I did with my VA, and it was a waste of money. I didn't like paying her invoice because I thought that she was terrible because she wasn't doing anything. Bad leader at that point. I didn't realize it was actually on me. And I let her go because she didn't do anything.
Yeah. And sometimes my favorite was I had a couple of VAs ghost on me. Right? Like, they just ghosted. They just disappeared on me. And it was because who would want to work for me? Like, I was just throwing random tasks. It made no sense, no deadlines, no nothing. And I was like, why did this person just disappear? And they're probably like, this is terrible. I don't want to do this anymore. Right? And it's just so hard. I learned the power of like hiring people that know what they're doing. Like through much trial and error, right? Like even like agency work for Facebook ads and, you know, whatever it is. Dang, man, why not just hire someone that knows what they're doing?
Exactly.
Just give them, and like also to understanding exactly what you want to get rid of, like in your business, like not get rid of, that's the wrong words, but like the biggest thing that I get out of people doing work for us, like we have a full-time editor. That's awesome. We have a full-time retention and customer service. We have full-time, I have an executive assistant because God knows I need somebody to keep me organized, right? And the customer service especially, and Jocelyn can vouch for this, is the mental load. When you see every single thing that comes into your business, good and bad, that causes a weird situation in a human's brain that you are not prepared to deal with, like from evolution, because like we're just not prepared for like every time you see, like, let's say in 1 week 5 people can't get logged in, the world starts ending. You're like, oh my gosh, is the system set up wrong? Is everything broken? No, there was just 5 people couldn't get logged in. But your brain can't not go down all the rabbit holes of everything that's completely wrong and you're not doing anything right. And we look at all the negative, especially like even password logging in. It sounds so silly. That is heavy, man, when people can't get your tech to work, or they can't find something that you think is obvious. And now you're questioning if you've built your entire program correctly, right? Just getting that stuff off your plate is what gives me the mental freedom every day to be creative and talk to people like you, and like just to be able to even have like if I had a conversation, like we're talking right now, if anybody wants to know this, it's 8:44 at night on a Wednesday, right? Because Kat's in Australia, so I got to talk to her at nighttime so we can match it up. But like I've had a full day today of other podcasts and other things. If I had also been clearing my support tickets and getting people logged in and fixing widgets that were broken and answering all my Facebook messages, and like there's no way that I would have any kind of clarity right now to sit and have any kind of productive conversation with you. And this is a task that moves the needle for us when thousands of people listen to our podcast. That's what makes us have authority. That's what gets people to look at our program. That's what gets people to actually trust us enough to join the community. And if this was just a crappy podcast because I was burnt out and dead from doing support tickets all day, I'd never go anywhere, right?
Exactly. And that's kind of our mission at the moment. So when I was thinking about serving membership businesses more, and I really wanted to be able to clear their mental space as quickly as possible. And we've done a lot of that over the last couple of years. We used to work with people quite intensely over 3 months and create a huge transformation for them, but it would take 3 months. And then I started to think about it, and I'm like, what's a really simple thing that I have the skills after running a membership and also being an online business manager? Like, those worlds collide into something that's quite unique. What's something really easy that I can take off people's plates that will give them that space back? And so that's when we started to think about customer service, because for me, it's a no-brainer to systematize that and to train my team, who are all Filipino VAs, but they're amazing because I know how to train them and I know how to create the systems for them and I know how to work with them and I know how to choose the ones that have exceptional English, and all of those mountains that are there for the membership owner to climb, because I climbed them all and I know that many people listening are climbing them at the moment or have in the past. It's really easy for me to literally tomorrow take over somebody's customer service, and they need to work with us a little bit on the setup, because we like to build out a little bit of a library of responses and things like that so that we can actually answer questions with some knowledge, so that we actually
got to know where the courses are and all that
stuff.
Exactly.
But if I can easily come in and after a little bit of setup, a couple of weeks of setup, take that off your plate, like it's gone. Apart from the things that we can't answer, which there might be a handful of things every day that the business owner has to help us out with, but over time we create more systems and that becomes less and less and less. And you don't have to think about it.
Yeah. That can even be batched at that point too, where you just check in once a month or a week, like, we couldn't answer this question or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's so easy for us and such a mountain to climb for membership owners. And I didn't even realize it was such a mountain for people until I was working with friends of ours, Emma and Carla, who have also been on this podcast, the Merrymaker sisters. And they're very successful. Their membership has 800 or 900 people.
Oh yeah, they're crushing it.
Yeah, crushing it. But they didn't realize that they could outsource things like
and they have the money to do it, people. You know what's funny? We teach this in the Flip Lifestyle Blueprint. We teach people, don't hire anything first except for customer service, because people always want to do people look at they read the books of write all the things you hate, whatever. And that's not how it works, right? That's not how it works. Like, it's the things that you can get off your plate the fastest and the easiest that get you moving toward the things that you should be focusing on, right? And customer service is all, but people want to outsource. I was talking to somebody just the other day in our forums. They were saying something like they were really wanting to hire ghostwriters for their blog. Like, they had just launched and they had got like 20, 30 members and they wanted like all these things. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that? Like, that's a very high one. Those are expensive. Right. You can't just hire any random virtual assistant to write content for you, and like, two, you got a bunch of members. You're going to need others. There's other little knickknacks that you don't need to be doing. And then you would, and I think what it was they felt stressed now because they had a bunch of members. They had to lead their community. They had to do customer service and they had to continue creating content.
Exactly.
But content was the thing they actually liked to do, but it felt the heaviest because they felt the obligation to handle the members, right, in certain ways. And most people don't care who tells them how to log in. They don't care, right? They don't care about that. What they care is if you show up with in your courses or on your podcast or on these other things that you do, right? But we get so overwhelmed by the little things like death by a million cuts in our inbox, right? And everyone should be hiring customer service like first to get all that stuff like off their plate.
Yeah. And I think things like there's some mindset things that you have to deal with, such as the good point you made was whoever's name is at the bottom of the email helping you figure out how to change your password. The customer actually doesn't really care that much, as long as it's somebody that spoke good English and helped them. Nobody wants an experience where you've said, hey, I need to change my password, and someone writes back and says, the membership costs $29 a month. Like, it's right. it needs to be coherent and actually helpful. And then these support teams become little superstars. They get to know your members get to know them. I think a membership who has the appearance of a team looks like a bigger membership than it actually is.
More professional. That's right.
Yeah. And that gives your members confidence that there's people behind the scenes that are handling things properly. Whereas if you're wearing all the hats, if you're like tech support and customer service and sales and whatever, like, you have to be in the beginning to some degree, but there's a point where you've got to step out of that.
I've even been coaching people lately. Like, we've had people come through like our mastermind programs and stuff, and they'll get launched and they'll go out and do their beta group, and they'll get their 20 people paying $100 a month or whatever. Right. And they'll have a couple grand or $1,000, $2,000. And they're like, cool. What do I do next? Like, you spend all that money on customer service support and like you spend that money on team immediately. And now you do have that professionalism. You do have a little bit more bandwidth. You don't get overwhelmed in that first pass. And like, if you can just kind of reinvest back into your business, you'll grow so much faster that you'll make more. Right. Exactly. But people want to, and also too, there is this mentality of, well, people want me, they bought my membership. They expect me to help them with all this stuff. It's not what people want. It has nothing to do with you. People don't want Shane and Jocelyn. They want the result that Shane and Jocelyn can give. Right. And however we choose to fulfill that, that's what's actually going to make retention. As long as we can fulfill the promise that we make to people to help them start, build, and launch their membership, then that's what they want. They really don't care. It's not about you. It's just not. People don't. It's just not. I had a guy one time was really harsh with me. We were hanging out with some people in New York. We were at this guy's apartment. A lot of online entrepreneurs. Everybody was doing it. And I don't say harsh like he was being mean. It was just matter of fact, right? And we were talking about this same subject, and we were crushing it. It was we had elementarylibrarian.com, totally passive, hundreds of members, just crushing it. But we were a little overwhelmed, and I'll never. And Jocelyn said something like that, like they expect her to be there or something. And he just looked at her and he said, you guys got to realize everybody's replaceable, even you. And that changed everything about the way I looked at our business. I'm like, yeah, I can replace myself in customer service. We have community managers now that answer questions in our forums, and they do a great job, right? They're more in tuned with where courses are in the blueprint now because it's so big, right? We have so many courses. I don't even know where that stuff is. Like, they can do it better than me, right? And like, it's when you realize that, it's so freeing in your membership. Like, I'm just trying to deliver a result and help people. How can I do that best. And then you realize, oh yeah, I need team to do that. That's the only way to get to the next level is with some kind of team, you know?
It is, definitely. And there's a trap though. You need the team, but then you could spend, and you probably will spend quite a while hiring your team and finding them and getting it wrong and being a bad leader and wondering what your team are doing all day and what you're paying them for. And I didn't pay them to like not show up. One of my clients the other day, she emailed me, and she's absolutely lovely, beautiful lady, was saying that her VA had only been showing up to work for 3 hours a day. And it's a full-time Filipino VA. And she actually didn't know how to handle it or what to do, which blows my mind, because I'm like, well, did you ask her if she could actually show up for the time that she needs to be?
Did you think to ask that before you hired her?
Yeah.
Right.
She hadn't even had the conversation with her, because leading is hard.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to have a hard conversation with a VA or their wife or anybody, basically. So if you're not prepared to go through that, if you would like to just show up in your membership every day and build content and serve and be creative, because most of us are creative. That's why we're here in the first place. Like, it lights us up to have conversations and to write blog posts and to do videos or go live on Facebook and talk about what fires us up. It doesn't do us any service to be logging into our email first thing in the morning and answering customer support tickets.
I don't think you've realized something, Kat.
What's that?
Like you've actually solved two interesting problems, not just one, because you've got the customer service thing, like, oh, you have a membership, give it over. Let's do this. I got my team, my people know how to do customer service for memberships. Here we go. But you actually have let people like outsource the leadership in that gap, right? Like that one thing that it sucks that you have to figure out how to be a leader in that gap.
Yes.
Right. Because you have to bear the cross of being a leader and growing your business, which is too many crosses to carry, you know?
Many.
You've kind of solved that problem to be able to outsource the leadership of the customer service team to you. And now it's really like, I don't even have to worry about it at that point, because it's just it's kind of genius. And I'm kind of mad that you didn't do this back in like 2012 when I started my memberships, because like, oh my gosh, our first VAs, has Jocelyn ever showed you the epic letters that our first VAs would write us? Like, they're like 70 pages of like complaining and crying and whining and unfairness. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We pay you 10 times more than anyone in your country makes. And like, you're doing a great,
massive.
I didn't know how to lead them, though.
Mountain to climb. Yeah.
I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to tell it, and we didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how to clarify expectations. But now it's just like, oh, I'll do that. That's what you're like saying right now. It's like, I'll do it. I'll do that. I already got it figured out. My people listen to me. I got all the good ones. That's why you can't find the good ones, because I got them all.
Exactly. I know exactly what I'm looking for. And we all have to learn how to lead better over time in our businesses. We've got no choice in the matter. Like, if you want a membership, you have to learn how to lead. But you don't have to do it like, it doesn't have to be death by 1,000 cuts. You can kind of like ease your way in. And customer service is a good way to do it. And our service, we also take care of your weekly newsletter. So that kind of gets two big things off your plate, gives you that mental space that you need to not worry about whether or not Jane or Joe was unhappy with your membership and thinks you're the worst person in the world. Like, you don't need to see that email, because that interferes with your mental space.
Yes.
And it does so bad. Like, it can take days to recover from that stuff.
It crippled Jocelyn sometimes. Like, and I mean, it gets to all of us though. You know, like,
it gets to me. I can't do it.
I only let my team, they're only allowed to send me either the hilarious ones that are just like someone off the rails, right? Or the really positive ones. That's like don't forward me anything unless it's super positive, or it's going to be like, this dude has lost his mind and it's hilarious. Right. So that's my filters now, because I got someone that checks all that inbox stuff for me, you know?
Exactly. It's about creating that space. And I really think the more I ponder this, It's what the gurus or the membership masters have figured out. They've figured out that they need space. They need boundaries. Boundaries is another important thing. Like, don't even get me started about boundaries in your membership, such as like not answering your forums 24 hours a day, like not being in your Facebook group all the time, those sorts of things. There's so many little mountains that need to be climbed as a membership business owner. Don't let your customer support and even tech support to some degree. There are services out there where you can pay a monthly fee and they will take care of your tech support.
Oh, we pay like $50 a month for all of our WordPress stuff because I don't have time to go update plugins. But
there's a point where doing that is silly.
Yes.
And continuing to go, these forums, they could look better if I just had a different color. I'm going to Google how to change the color in my forums. And then you spend the whole day figuring out how to change the color in your forums.
When you could have paid someone $10 to do it, probably, and they would have done it for you.
Yeah. Find some amazing tech guy in India or Pakistan or the Philippines who will happily do that for you in about 30 seconds flat.
That's amazing.
Yeah, those two things, get them off your plate. If you don't want to lead and hire and do all those things, come and see us. If you just want to talk about any of that stuff in general, I'm always happy to have a chat. But
so how do people find you online? I want to say this because I don't say this for everybody. And like, listen, full-throated endorsement from Shane and Jocelyn at all times for Kat Jarman. So like, Kat actually like helped us transition on our team for a while. So like it's not just a friend thing. Like, I've seen her in action, and yeah, she's not paying me to say this either. Yeah. So like this is full-throated endorsement because I really think when you told us that you were transitioning to service, I remember the day Jocelyn was like, "Oh, Kat's evolving into this." I'm like, "Oh my God. That is the most genius thing ever that so many people need to get them to that life-changing amount of money or that life-changing amount of members, is to be able to unload that stuff safely. And like, because you can waste a whole year of your life hiring wrong and it's bad, and it's just a genius service to do that. So how do people find out more about this?
Thank you. Well, you can go to youronlineteam.com, and that is the easiest way to read blog posts and jump on the newsletter list, because we email every week just whatever random thought I have about this type of subject. So if you want to get some tips and things like that, you can jump on the email list. You can hit me up on Instagram if you want to. It's cat_Jarman. If you want to get on the gram. I feel like I'm a bit old for this stuff, but
that's all right. Get on the gram, baby.
Get on the gram. Is that what they call it?
Get on the gram. They're going to call it from now on. We're going to coin that right now. I'm trademarking it, putting on a shirt. Get on the gram, man.
Get on the gram. Or even if you just want to send me an email and say, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed with the admin in my membership, I don't know what to do. You can do that, cat@youronlineteam.com, and it's cat with a K.
Awesome. And we will put all of that stuff as well in the show notes and everywhere else that we post this online. Thank you so much, Kat. This was awesome. Like, I love it, man. I love we've got this little tribe of people serving membership owners. And I think it's like the coolest thing how it just keeps expanding out, right? And we get to like create this like ecosystem of good people to serve the people who are building memberships and movements and making things happen in the world. So thank you for sharing all of your amazing knowledge today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate that you guys have been like one of the biggest parts of my life for the last 5 years. And the service that we're doing now feels 100% exactly right. Like, I'm in my zone of genius right now. And that wouldn't have happened if you guys hadn't have like kicked my butt back in, 2016 when I opened my membership, and I had no members and it was insanely hard, and Jocelyn had to like write me lists of things that I needed to do, and we might have been in hot tubs at the time. I don't know.
Right. That's right. But we got it done, friend. We got it done.
And then when I had my daughter in 2016 and decided that my membership was too much because I was doing all the admin, my thing that I did back then, I quit my membership. So I chose to do the thing that I saw these guys talking about on Facebook, like, the membership's too hard, I'm going to quit. But then I learned online business management because you guys brought me into your business in that capacity. And you guys and other friends of mine helped me learn the systems and the ways to make things easier for the business owner. And then we fast forward to 2021, those two worlds collide, and you guys had so much to do with it. And now I'm in exactly the right place. So that's
you have all the skills necessary to do. I always tell,
Exactly.
I tell the story too. Like I when I was in high school, right, I took this media class and I was the producer. So I had to learn how to edit video, right? And then I tried to get an internship on a football team, and I just so happened to know how to edit video, which helped me get my internship so I could make highlight reels and stuff for them, right? And this is a really huge football program, okay? And then then that gives me some responsibilities that lead me into this and that, and then I go and I teach and coach and all that, and all of that leads to and then as I become a school teacher, I talked Jocelyn into becoming an elementary school librarian so that we would be on the same schedule, right? And then lo and behold, all those skills that are so separate and disparate and don't make sense and all that, when I started an online business, I was like, wait a minute, I just have to edit audio like I edit video, and I can make a podcast. I already have this skill, right? And then when me and Jocelyn couldn't figure out what to do online, when we heard about all these online business owners, we looked at each other and we're like, wait a minute, you're a librarian. I'm a football coach. Let's serve those communities on the internet with playbooks and lesson plans and things like that. So like all the things, even the failures, always add up to right where you're supposed to be. So you can, when you're in the right place at the right time, it's because of all that other stuff you did. And there's just no failures. It's just always the next thing. And you're doing an amazing next thing, you know?
Oh, that's such a good story. I love that. Thank you so much for everything ever, in the past and in the future, I'm sure.
Well, we're just getting started, Kat Jarman. We're just getting started.
All right, guys, that wraps up my interview with Kat Jarman. I love Kat so much, and I hope you loved my conversation with her today. Make sure you go check out everything that she's got going on online. And if you need any help starting, building, launching, or growing a membership site of your own, that is all we do inside the Flipped Lifestyle community. Head over to flippedlifestyle.com right now, and you can check out all of the courses, trainings, and community offerings that we have to help you grow an amazing membership website. That's flippedlifestyle.com, FLIPPED lifestyle.com, and you can check out all the great things we have in our community today. That's all the time we have for this week on the Membership Masters podcast. Until next time, get out there, be consistent, be prolific, be relentless, put in the work, and do whatever it takes to become a membership master too. We'll see you next time.